Hey man, can you hear us?
Oh yes, I can hear you perfectly well. I'm just I'm
Very
just
nice.
I'm just here soaking up the vibes. My
Awesome,
name's
man. Very
Brian.
nice to see you.
I'm Señor Droolcup on Twitter. Um, give me just a minute. I'm going to my wife spent the whole day working very hard. She made me a wonderful dinner, and I'm going to honor her by not making her listen to me talk about Twin Peaks.
Awesome.
I'm just going to move to another room.
How did you get your screen name, Brian? Senior
Oh,
Drool Cup
no,
ESQ.
absolutely. I exactly. No, I did what all good lawyers do. I gave that to myself. Um, just love the character, love the name from the first time that I saw it. So I try to use that as my social media avatar. I don't have a social media presence. I'm simply a fan and an admirer of all three of you. But try to use that as my avatar, and as a 53 something guy with a dad bod, I can get away with that.
Well, you're my favorite person on Twitter, for whatever that's worth.
Thanks.
But
I'm a recovering rageaholic, so I just try to be nice to everybody on Twitter
oh,
these days.
okay, interesting. Has Twin Peaks aided the recovery?
Yes.
I'm asking. I'm actually literally asking dead seriously.
No, that's an interesting question. Well, I think the great thing about the Twin Peaks fandom is, especially I really didn't get into the show until really I'm ashamed to say it, into the 2000s. And one thing that you realize when you become part of the fandom is that it's such an amazing array of totally different personalities. And whether you go to a Twin Peaks fest or, just I remember the electric feeling of when we were all at the concert at the Seattle Symphony early this year. And you realize that you're part of something huge with people that you honestly might not have anything else in common with,
Yeah.
except love of this show. And so it's a worldwide evener. I'm trying to think of the right word to use. Something that evens out all the other social and political arguments, and makes us all get along with each other.
And yet,
Yeah, well
awkwardly enough,
put.
there must be a multitude of things that make us similar, right? Because
There's
what
got to
a
be.
what a pointed what a pointed specific flavor to hang your hat on, right? To go, this is my flavor. This is the thing that tastes best to me. Like there has to be a multitude of things, at least in the way that we theorize or we think, that's
Mhm.
similar, even if we've reached vastly different conclusions about life.
Yeah, I I can also say I'm sure I'm not alone. One thing that actually kind of helped me on my rage recovery is I'm in the camp of people that uh, didn't really understand David. We understood Twin Peaks. We may not have understood David Lynch as well. And so the return came, frankly, as a bit of a shock. People that were, I just wasn't sophisticated enough. I was expecting, basically something that would continue on from seasons one and seasons two. And I was frankly pretty, oh my God, what the hell did you do to my favorite TV show?
Hmm.
But then, I think John Bernardi kind of helped me in that recovery.
Yeah.
You begin to look at is what is it that these writers and
Mhm.
directors are offering you? There's something good here. Why don't you put aside your own pretensions and desires and try to understand it? And so I think that's something that helps in dealing with people too.
Hmm. Do you talk in court? Is that the type of
Yeah, I'm a
lawyering that you do?
litigator, trial lawyer. Yeah,
Awesome.
so
Okay. I thought so. I just wasn't certain. I think I once encouraged you to slip some Twin Peaks stuff into one of your closing statements.
I do.
Have
As a
you
matter
done,
of
have
fact,
you, because when I first asked you, I think you said you wanted to, but hadn't yet. Have you since?
I have
Oh,
occasionally. I can't think of a good story off the top of my head for
yeah.
you right now, but I still, although the show seems to be complete for the moment, like so many of us, I still live and breathe it. daily, going through another watch through right now. So I absolutely try to slip a reference into legal arguments in court
I think
wherever.
your
Nice.
best bet is to cap a phrase by saying, "You think about that, Tammy."
Yeah.
You know,
I've also where it's easier and can be set up when I occasionally give talks to other lawyers, lectures for, continuing education, that kind of thing. And I'll usually try to slip in, or when I'm introduced, because they'll say, he went to this law school, he practiced this kind of law. Among his prominent clients are, and I'll usually, put in Ghostwood Development Company.
Nice.
Just in case
Yeah,
one person
that's
in the
great,
audience. You
man.
never
yeah,
know.
still waiting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you never know who's gonna pick up on that. So, you're rewatching now?
Yeah, yeah. I'm going through kind of my first complete beginning to end. Went ahead and splurged on the Z to A.
Hmm.
So almost finished with season two at the moment, and then
Is
go
there,
through it. Yeah.
not to put you on the spot or anything, but is there anything different about your experience this time? Or
Oh
like
yeah, of
anything that you're
course.
noticing or feeling or experiencing differently,
Yeah,
generally or
absolutely.
specific?
I think just just as you age more and get more world experience, we're all kind of dad aged. I don't like the word middle aged, but we understand so much more about the way the world is than when the show came out in the 90s. And I was aware of it. I wasn't watching it religiously. When it first broadcast in the 90s, I was in college. But I think it's a show with so much depth, especially around human personalities. And frankly, one thing I can say as a lawyer is one thing that I think that helps me appreciate the show. It like all good storytelling, it's about using archetypes that have appealed to people for 100,000 years and will still appeal to people 100,000 years in the future. And trial lawyering is kind of based on that too. But the other good thing about being a trial lawyer is you meet really crazy people like because those are the people that are pushy enough not to settle easily. So I've met plenty of Ben Horns and Leo Johnsons, maybe not
Interesting.
that
Yeah.
violent, but you meet crazy people. And a show like Twin Peaks frankly kind of helps you understand them, because you want to get to the stage. I'm taking your question and going a step further with it, but
Yeah.
as a lawyer, you want to get to the stage where you can at least understand the motivations of the person on the other side, because that's really the only way you're going to settle with them is, by understanding what they want and then trying to find a way to give them something. So that's one great thing about Twin Peaks is you begin to see all of these actors in this marvelous supernatural terrifying soap opera, that for they're all real people, and they view themselves they view themselves as doing something good, or at least something righteous, in their minds. And I'll just say one thing. That's one thing I love about the way the lodge spirits were designed in season one, season two, is that their motivations and actual plans are kind of beyond human understanding. It's a bit dangerous to try to judge or interpret them, according to normal human designs.
hubris,
Mm.
right? Hubris is the
Yeah,
word,
there you go.
right? That's all right.
And I'm wondering what Brian's day-to-day experience with Twin Peaks is. Because you said it's sort of pretty prevalent in your life. Are you
Yeah,
reading a lot? Or are you just watching or thinking about it? Like, is it
mostly
in your
watching and thinking about
subconscious?
it. I would, it's like so many people, we all have plans for retirement that are never going to come to fruition. But among my plans are, I'm gonna sit down and go through all of the many great videos and websites. As I go through, I'm sure like you, I try to keep notes. I've got hundreds of pages of notes from all of the rewatches, and it's interesting kind of looking back, like mistakes I had made or things that I had totally misinterpreted. the first time and updating those notes through each rewatch. And when you Google like, wait, what did he say? Or what's going on here? And you Google something and you find a new website that way beyond Glastonbury Grove or other of the original websites that people have made. It's also interesting to me that I think to really understand, like I said, to really understand Twin Peaks, you really have to understand David Lynch, which is something I wasn't really in a place to do when I first started watching the show. I've seen all of his movies now, which really helped me understand The Return much better. But I'm also often struck by how many of those people that are not, as you were saying, there are a lot of videos on YouTube, people that are not necessarily Twin Peaks fans. A name that comes off the top of the head, Pete Peppers, for example. I don't know that he's exactly a David Lynch fan, but a lot of his stuff, I just as an ordinary fan, I found very useful. His series on the rewatch. You have to learn to kind of take pieces of each of these. But ordinarily, for the really deeper level stuff, I think you've really got to be a David Lynch aficionado, which I'm not yet, but I'm on my way.
And it sounds like there's no stopping, or at least none in
Right,
sight.
not.
What
It's no known cure, as they say.
can you share the real answer? Can you share your thoughts? What happened in this scene?
You
Is
tell
it
us right
straightforward?
now. Tell us.
I'm gonna, as a person that's also, and I think one of the reasons that Twin Peaks has been successful is it really appeals to obsessive compulsive people like Anthony and I that love to just go down every rabbit hole. But a great liberation came to my soul at the Seattle Symphony Twin Peaks concert back in February when Kyle MacLachlan said, uh, "David's films are meant to be felt, not understood." And I think that was license for me at least. Just stop worrying about it.
Yeah.
And it's funny you say that because earlier you were talking about just maybe being more angry in the past or whatnot. And
Yeah.
I could tell you that the show for me personally uh, made me feel things that I hadn't felt either in a while or maybe just never. So it was really a nice way to maybe I'm in my head too often. I don't know if I am, but it's basically connected to every part of my human like body, like it maybe in equal measure. Total heart, gut, head, skin hairs, like really like a little everything. So it just hit like it checked every box on that. Like, I don't know, reminding me that I'm a full human being or something. Not that you don't know that consciously, but it made me feel all of it. So that was probably how it got the hooks into me.
Yeah,
Now that I
especially
think about it.
I mean, we're all in American culture, we're all kind of addicted to film things on the screen, and it makes up a great deal of our life, and we've all had very emotional experiences, with conclusions of shows, or how we all felt when this happened in that famous show, and it's what we all gather around the water cooler talking about Monday morning. But I think there is something about Twin Peaks that just brings that to a whole nother level where it's, for me, I remember that feeling the very first time watching the final episode of season two when watching it on syndication in the mid 2000s, and you just looking at my watch and, oh my God, this whole thing's going to be over in 15 minutes. How
Yeah.
can this be? Um,
Yeah, how can they wrap this up?
yeah, yeah, exactly. And we've come to the end of this long road, but I got to say, and again, I'm perfectly comfortable with people that say, look, I don't like this. It's not my thing. I have no interest in
Yeah.
whatsoever. That's fine. But if you appreciate it, you understand this is really, really high production quality. I mean, it's the old saying that, look, this was television, and for the first time with movie quality actors and writing and direction and all that. But even for that, wow, you
Yeah.
really, the more time goes on, you really appreciate the incredible level of talent and how it all just came together. We see that in trial lawyering all the time. You have you can bring in the best group of attorneys, and sometimes it all meshes and everything is just clicking, and it's a fantastic feeling because trial lawyering is like putting on a play. That's how I explain it to people. And a lot of times it doesn't,
Just
and you can have the greatest level of talent, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't click together. But wow, for those 2 seasons, and I'm sure I'll have to read the books on the production of the show in season 1 and season 2. There were all kinds of obstacles and stress, like there is in any endeavor in life. But man, they really
Got to go
pulled
get your Brad
something.
Dukes on.
yeah.
Hey, I can't wait to hear your show, quote unquote. I'm legally not allowed to tell you this.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't wait to listen to that show.
Exactly.
Um, I'm gonna have to run in a couple minutes, but John, would you like to answer the question of the
Oh
day?
yeah. Yeah, okay, so yeah, like Cooper was already able to kind of reach into this other world while living in this place that wasn't his own home. It's in between, like, hotel, motel, like whatever you call it. The like many rooms, not a home among them. Um, and he was this close to being able to pass through because of an injury. And because of this, because of a wood tick, he was able to get help. Like, it was sort of a call for help in a weird tangential way. And I think the thing that I'm most curious about is how did that help basically congeal into this final moment before Ronette wakes up, where there's this gold ball that gets passed from this thing giving him help into Cooper's throat.
What is that gold ball?
That light that, it's like right at the end, like, it's like
No, no, I know the scene, but what
gold
what is
light.
it?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm super curious about.
What
Like,
does what does your feeling tell you that it might be?
I don't know. I kind of feel like it's an answer that, like, it has to be worked through, like, physically, like through Cooper's body in order to get through his voice, because it's not up here. It's not through the third eye. It's through here. And, like, yeah, it's like it's just like everything else. You got to have time to
That's
process
interesting.
things.
That's like located halfway between the head and the heart. So maybe it's some sort of
Yeah.
combination of the two, which is somewhat how David Lynch defines intuition in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe,
It's right in the middle,
maybe.
just like everything else, in between things.
I have this
Yeah.
I have this weird idea where John does a podcast that's just as stoic, just as analytical, and just as dead ass serious about the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, right? And he just, I mean, just right down the barrel of the microphone, man, as stoic as can possibly be. We don't say the word canon. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah.
Well, I have a collection of sonnets written about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So
Awesome.
if you or John wanted access to that collection, I'd be happy to share.
I
And
knew it. I knew there's no doubt in my mind.
There's a
yeah,
wonderful
this
person. Sorry, there's a wonderful person on one of the Twin Peaks Facebook groups that I met at Twin Peaks Fest. She lives in Snoqualmie. Her name's gone right out of my head. But not only is she a great Twin Peaks expert, she also does a podcast on Dallas
Oh,
Huh.
awesome.
called The Ewing Family Barbecue, which I've never listened to it.
Nice.
I'm
yeah.
not a fan of Dallas, but it's just what you're into, man. You gotta
There
love
you
it.
go. So the precedent is there, John. So you're gonna have to think about this. You're not busy enough. That's what we know.
Oh no, no, I'm not going to be able to to start anything for, like, what, at least 2 years at this point. So I guess that means next week you'll see the first episode.
But I just can't wait. It's like
Hoping so.
just an hour of him asking, why did Will diss his girl? You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
God.
I'm a
This
big SpongeBob fan, and it's
Mhm.
I try to, tell my kids, because we used to watch SpongeBob together when we were kids, and I'm trying to explain to them, look, these basic characters
Mhm.
are, the same. It wasn't cartoons, but if you went back 10,000 years ago, Greek mythology, Roman mythology, my dad always tried to explain this to me. I didn't understand it, but like these are super basic characters and they're telling stories that resonate with people.
Mhm.
So
it's interesting
that's
that
interesting.
you continue to bring that up. I mean, in the heart of my theory, I don't just believe that that's the device by which you're watching a show, because that's the device by which you watch any show. I literally believe that that is the device that makes the show operate. That's what the show's in reference to, are the archetypes, right? The show is itself the personal unconscious drama. I've said it, and I've said it.
nope, keep saying it.
I'm gonna I'm gonna well, he's gonna keep saying it on his own show, and I could guarantee that because I talk to him here and there, and I'm really looking forward to where that show goes. But I'm gonna have to go to sleep. Um, but I've long thought that if Twin Peaks was animated, it's by the same and maybe by the same animator that created SpongeBob, or like Spirited Away. Um, I think the show wouldn't be so challenging because I think it's the human beings having these experiences, with actual skin and bones that creates like a little bit of a block. But if they were just animated characters having the exact precise same plot line, it would probably be a lot easier to process. That's
You
just my
well, you
little.
make this interesting. You just said all animation by its sheer nature, surrealism, all of it,
Yeah.
right?
For me, this scene just opened up, like it opened up the wonder again. Not that it was leaving the show, but it like reignited
Yeah.
the mystery, it and it like strategically plants like five or six new questions in the reader's mind. So it's very
Yeah.
persuasive the way it gets its hooks in you.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, I guess the mystery is something that is just at the heart of the show for me. And it was also a bit of a mystery tonight because I had the Zoom link out there, and it was like who's going to show up, and people showed up in a staggered fashion, and I'm so glad you did. And I really appreciate it, John. I told you, man, you were the number one person I was hoping to talk to today, and
Uh,
I'm glad you made the time for me. And Tommy,
yeah.
great to see you, man. And
I'm sure I'll text you
Senor,
within the next 20 minutes talking to you about something that Jung said.
I'm gonna go to sleep. Senor, it's an honor. Thanks so much for making the time.
As an ordinary fan, to all three of you, I just want to say thank you, for entertaining and helping us all understand this.
And I'll see you guys, I guess, somewhere in the internet.
Yep.
There's somewhere in
Good
the
night.
shows.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Good
Thanks
night.
Hey,
again.
gentlemen,
Really, really appreciate it.
may
Thank
Okay.
you, buddy.
Imaginamic be in your dreams.
Consider it done.
Yeah. Good night.
Good night, guys.